I'm really grateful for the continuous collaboration and support that we've had, especially since we kicked off this. We've almost 4 months now that we've been. Yeah, it's more than 4 months. We're getting into our 5th month now that we've been getting together weekly, and more recently since the beginning of March weekly. Obviously, activities around Afghan arrival has slowed down. Not to say there will not be arrivals picking up soon, but that compressed arrival, those activities have slowed down to the extent that I think today we have just one family in the hotels, and most of the families are now in their permanent homes and beginning their journey in America. Whilst arrival has slowed down, it doesn't mean that the efforts to support them ends here. It's actually the beginning of the next phase of giving them the opportunity to be successful, to be integrated in this community, to contribute to the development of this community, to feel included in the community. So in that context, we're going to be talking today. We'll do a regular weekly update on where we are in terms of numbers and some of the things that we're seeing. But we really want to report back to the community about the Afghan support program itself, like, what has happened since we launched this program in January 12th, and then the regular community support that's needed, or shout out to people on the support that we've received so far. With that in mind, again, we are monitoring the situation with Ukraine. Many people have reached out wanting to know whether we've had Ukrainians arriving St. Louis. People have had questions about Ukrainians in the southern border who are coming in through Mexico because they don't require visas to get to Mexico. And so they're traveling to the Mexican border and applying for asylum. We have not seen those arrivals yet into St. Louis. We're dealing with some inquiries. I know we've had 1 or 2 families talk with our intake specialists, but those families are working on their temporary protective status and have ties within the community that's supporting them. But we know that eventually, once the federal government makes a clear determination as to who will qualify in the 100,000 refugees that President Biden announced, we will be able to provide more details. Needless to say that as an organization, we're thinking about how we begin to ramp up capacity. What are some of the things that we're going to do so that we are ahead of the wave, if that wave eventually comes, so that we can prepare ourselves for that. The lessons that we've learned with the Afghan arrivals, not to say that it's going to be the same as compressed as it was, but as an organization and to a larger extent as a community, we can begin to think about how we build that capacity to be able to welcome the Ukrainians when and if that the time arrives. With that in mind, I'll pause here and turn this over to our Senior Vice President of Programs here at the International Institute, Blake Hamilton, for the resettlement update.
Thank you, Ray, and hello, everybody. Regarding our arrivals, we are continuing to see a slow pace. We do only have 2 more arrivals, I believe, scheduled for this month, and they're coming in the next 2 weeks. These are actually refugee cases. We are still waiting to see the second wave of arrivals as promised. That would be Afghans through the APA program who would be SIVs or in process to receive their special immigrant visa already. The updates regarding that, I think we've been told that we should expect those arrivals, as you heard, they said towards the end of March, we should see arrivals resume, refugee arrivals resume. And now we've only really functionally will have had 3 cases arrive in the month of April. So it seems to be a little bit slower going in terms of the uptick for refugee arrivals. And we're hopeful that in the next several weeks that we'll begin to see more Afghan arrivals resume with the second phase of resettlement. And again, those Afghans who will be arriving will be a little bit different than the folks who were coming previously from military bases domestically. These are all folks who are on bases abroad and have been undergoing processing, many of them since their evacuation since last fall, who will be coming here directly from overseas, as opposed to those who are arriving from military bases locally. Regarding housing, we are very pleased now to see that we are wrapping up our program in partnership with hotels. So in the last 2 weeks, 33 individuals have been moved from the hotels. That was 5 total cases, 5 families. And now, as of today, as of our meeting this morning, there are now only 2 cases remaining in the hotels, which we are very thrilled about. These are large cases, a case of 10 and a case of 11. But that fundamentally means that 97% of all of our arrivals are now back or now into permanent housing, which we're very, very pleased to hear about. Our goal for our next meeting would be to have a little bit more of a report, a little bit more of a zip code report where folks are to share out about those resettlement zip codes. You know, and hopefully by then we will have nobody in hotels. With the arrivals that we've seen to this point, the refugee arrivals we've seen, we've been able to move folks directly in March and to this point in April, we've been able to move folks directly into permanent housing. But the question has come to us already, well, does that mean you're no longer going to be working with the hotels? And, you know, to the contrary, we want to maintain those relationships because we know when we have short notice arrival of a case of 10 or 11, we'll still need to rely on those hotels for temporary housing. Just the fact of the matter is we'll need hopefully fewer rooms because it is not expected to see the volume of arrivals the way we saw the last fall, and it'll be much more a manageable flow. We'll be able to have a little bit more time in preparation ahead of folks boarding planes and coming to St. Louis. Looking back for the hotel movement from the month of January, since the last day of January, really, these are our stats for folks that moved into hotels. You see smaller cases of 1 to 4 spent 37 days in hotels, and the cases of 5 to 7 spent 28 days in hotels. Cases of 8 or more averaged 62 days in hotels. Now, it might surprise some that cases of 5 to 7 actually spend a little bit less time than the cases of 1 to 4. And the numbers are a little bit skewed on that as a result of the fact that we were very much working on these larger cases. We have, of course, limited staff to be able to work on, to be able to do any of this work. But we're able to find multiple housing sources that had maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms. That was, of course, we broadcasted in these meetings as a priority, and we just saw an abundance of those coming to us, and we prioritized the movement of those families into housing prior to those smaller cases, given our somewhat limited resources when it came to this. But you know, we're now happy to see that those numbers have really gone down. If you were tracking this over the last presentations where we were mentioning those average case days, we have seen a shorter time frame, which is great. When it comes to employment, this is a new sort of feature that we have within this update. Since December 1st, for our newly arrived Afghans, we have made 67 job placements, and that's not just the work of the International Institute, that's the work of our community partners. Betsy Cohen on this call, some of those placements that she helped folks find employment. Our community partners in Welcome Neighbor, Christian Friends of New Americans, and Oasis have been reporting when their volunteers have referred folks to jobs that they've obtained. Those placements are included in that list. So 67 placements since December 1st, 37 job placements in the month of March alone, which is really incredible. And the reason for that is that we did start to see more movement on the processing of work authorization documents for those cases that arrived previously, and more folks became eligible to work in March and were able to gain employment under their newly issued work authorization documents. I guess those documents were really being issued in late February and early March. We're hopeful that the trend of sort of this processing is going to continue for any new arrivals that come needing that application for work authorization, that those will likewise be processed. I do believe it's a good sign that the federal government is able to process these a little bit more quickly now. The average wage for these placements is $15.88 an hour, which is really great as we look across other refugee resettlement agencies in the network. This is amongst the highest wages that are earned on these average placements for newly arrived Afghans in the country. And that includes, on the coasts where a standard $15 minimum wage is passed in California and New York. We are still seeing that St. Louis is staying very competitive with the average rate of placement. So we're very happy to receive that recognition from our national partners about our leadership in this area, and the leadership around this table makes that happen, right? And so we're very thankful to everybody's efforts here for helping connect clients to high quality jobs. I would also say that 98% of all these job placements are organizations that offer benefits. So these are fully benefited positions that folks are getting into. Likewise, 98% of these placements are full-time. So we're very happy with this progress. Of course, we have more work to do. We had 179 cases arrive, 67 placements means that we're not quite at half of all cases having a working adult placed in employment just yet. But this is a great start. And if anything, that sign of the progress we made in March makes me optimistic going forward. Likewise, in order to help in this effort, we still have open positions at the Institute that need filling. We have job developer and job specialist positions, as well as our director of workforce development role, which still needs filling. And so I encourage you to continue to work within your networks and promote these positions that we have available at the Institute. We have many others, not just these in the workforce, but we often talk about sort of the needs of the agency working through like a snake. So resettlement obviously is hit first when we have a lot of arrivals, but now we've moved to the part here where workforce is really a major emphasis for us. And so it's critical for our future success and the future success of the clients that we're serving, that we are getting staffed up within our workforce solutions department. So any help that you can provide in referring candidates or promoting the positions is very much appreciated. And with that, I'll wrap and kick it back over to Ray.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Blake. And I know that there are several questions that we may have to come back to you in the chat group. But we would quickly run over progress that is being made with the Afghan support program and then come back to question and answer. So as we go along, if you have any questions, you can also drop that in the chat. But you all will recall that on January 12th this year, we kicked off the Afghan support program, primarily thanks to the investments made by Jerry Schlichter, who really wanted to see us think creatively about how we could keep the Afghans that had arrived here in St. Louis, keep them in St. Louis, but also make St. Louis an attractive location for Afghans to come. Some of what's on the report has already been covered by Blake, so I'm just going to go through that quickly, but you will all receive this presentation, and if you have any questions, you could follow up with us and see any opportunities for supporting this program. We would appreciate any support. But the first part of it is basically captures this is not the first part of it captures arrivals which have been
so to avoid the duplicating
duplication. Okay, all right, thanks. But let's just jump straight into the coding classes, because we've already had information on.
Hey, it's Moji. I'm here just in case you want me to chime in.
Sure, Moji. I would bring you up. Yeah, Moji is the project manager of this Afghan community support program, and Moji can provide a lot more updates as we go along in terms of the details. But that program included first a housing fund, and that housing fund has really been helpful. So when we talk about the housing numbers, that housing fund has really been helpful in unlocking some potentials. And the way that we did it was not drawing down on the fund to parents, but using it as some sort of a guarantee that has opened doors for us and really led to the fast pace at which we move people from hotels. I think since January 12th, or the beginning of the year, we moved over 172 people and 52 families. So that's the one aspect of it. And then we also have this coding classes, which is one aspect of it. And Moji, if you would like to talk about where we are with reference to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So lots of exciting things taking place under this Afghan support program. Now, the Claim Academy classes are we have a 1-week boot camp session that starts at the end of this month. And the boot camp basically will determine the 10 finalists who get to actually be placed in the actual coding classes. Coding classes will be for 12 weeks. Here at the Institute, we have a classroom with computers, headsets, an instructor. And right now we're in the process of translating all the material and finalizing the application process so that we can begin advertising through social media and other nationwide media, so we can get attraction from other cities and states around America, so we could get possibly other Afghans to resettle in St. Louis and take advantage of this amazing program that we've partnered with Claim Academy on. The best thing about the Claim Academy opportunity is upon completion and reception of the certification, they're guaranteed job placement. And that's really our key focuses here, is to make sure that our new arrivals are self-sustaining and their success adds to the overall success of the greater St. Louis community. And flipping over to the volunteers, on top of the overwhelming support we've gotten at an organizational level, we've also seen an overwhelming amount of volunteers show support, and our volunteer numbers are so high, and we anticipate that even more people are going to support us on this effort, and we're going to need all hands on deck as we're preparing to receive Ukrainian refugees, and these volunteers are really going to help us prepare for our newcomers, as well as help us continue to help assimilate and acclimate our new Afghan neighbors. What we have documented for home visits, it's 188 visits, but we know from volunteer families that that number is significantly larger. There's also St. Louis community members who have taken it upon themselves, who are not our volunteers, but they do visits with the Afghan community. And if you know anybody who is not a volunteer at the Institute, but they're helping our new arrivals, please connect them to us, just so that we can basically have those numbers on hand and have an idea of what kind of support our other people outside of the Institute and outside of our partners are offering to the new arrivals, so that we can maximize and work together. So part of the Afghan support program is launching a newspaper or newsletter. And we are rolling that out between this week and next week. So initially, until we find an editor, we're going to launch a website and use all social media. And we're going to use that space to distribute all the information as far as the programs and events, and highlight our volunteers and highlight all the partners that are making this mission possible. Great news, we have 200 iPads already in our hands from Apple, and we're working with T-Mobile, who we're also in a partnership with, and have hotspots for 2 years. These hotspots allow these Afghan families to have unlimited Wi-Fi access up to 10 devices. So between the iPads that we have from Apple and the hotspots we have with T-Mobile, 200 families will be able to connect to the internet unlimited for the next 2 years. And we're working on organizing a distribution event, a co-partnership with Apple here at the Institute. It's going to be super exciting. And once we finalize the details, we'll let you guys know. And that's going to be in the media. So that should also get more traction and more support for our program and for our overall Institute, so that we can support the rest of our immigrant family and the rest of our refugee family as well. We are getting nationwide press attention through partnership with a gentleman who is a Columbia journalism graduate, all pro bono. So we're very fortunate to have that type of support as well. In-house, we have mental health and behavioral health here through our social work department. And we are basically in the works of curating a non-clinical sort of trauma-based coaching and developing workshop to help the women as well as the men address the trauma that they're dealing with. And we're gonna make it fun so that it basically attracts more people to get involved, something like sewing classes. I'm really excited to introduce Fastathon STL Day. It's going to be a potluck style iftar dinner here outdoors. Hopefully the weather is on our side that day. The event is going to be potluck style, so we ask that you bring your own food, and we will provide water and dates. There's no restrictions. The only thing we ask is no alcohol and no pork. Otherwise, we ask everybody to show up to the Institute at about 7:20 at the latest, and we will pray together and break our fast together and share a meal alongside each other. We also encourage people in the greater St. Louis area who are not able to attend here at the Institute to fast wherever they're going to be, whether it's with their organization or with their family. The greater purpose of the Fastathon STL Day is for people who maybe are curious what it's like to fast, or maybe they just want to show solidarity to their Muslim friends or the new arrivals. This is just an opportunity that we've created so that we can collectively fast and join in on the spiritual and also physical and mental benefits that fasting offers. So super excited about that. Also, we are going to be having or hosting a prayer for the first day of Eid. Eid is a 3-day celebration that takes place after the 28 to 30 days of fasting. And we've partnered with St. Louis Community College. Their gym holds up to 1,000 people. So this is really great. We're in the behind the scenes trying to figure out how we're going to provide rides for all of our Afghans who are now housed in their own homes. It's a big task, but we're going to figure it out. And with our partners, I'm sure working together, this is going to be a mission that we can find success in together. Now, I'm really, really excited about this one because this will be the very first ever Afghan Eid Festival that St. Louis will be hosting. And it'll also be at the St. Louis Community College Gym on Saturday, May 14th. We're going to organize a traditional Afghan dance called Atan. We'll have some adorable young kids performing the national anthem. We'll have henna. For those who know, Afghans are really big on kites. We'll have kites, we'll have food for purchase. And again, the biggest task here, apart from the rehearsing, is trying to organize something, maybe a school bus or two, so that we can pick up all or as many of the new Afghan arrivals who want to partake in the festival, so that they can be there. Because the rest of us, this is open to the entire community, by the way. You do not have to be Afghan to be there. It is just an Afghan festival, so it's gonna have like Afghan aesthetics and Afghan music and Afghan cultural celebrations. But yes, very exciting stuff. And then I wanted to also just ask the community, or just remind you guys, for those who know, we've partnered with Little Angels Foundation to start collecting traditional outfits and jewelry for the young ladies. And we're gonna gift these clothes and sporting goods for the boys. We're collecting them every Thursday between 3 to 5 p.m. Drop-offs are here at the Institute. I will share my email so that you guys can reach out to me, so that there's a handoff, because these garments need to be taken care of and placed in a safe space. But the distribution of the actual clothes, it'll be like a gift giving ceremony. It'll also take place at the Hall of Nations during the Fastathon STL day. Otherwise, we are going to be having a food distribution event on the 23rd, and we'd like you to support us in the capacity that you can, but Kelly will touch in more detail for those who have follow-up questions about the actual events that are coming up.
Okay, all right, well, thank you very much, Moji, for that presentation. There are two things that I just want to highlight. I want to, we were very fortunate to get a grant from the St. Louis Community Foundation through what is called the Welcome Fund of $57,000 that basically we're applying to the T-Mobile phones / hotspots that we're going to be providing to these families. I think that's something which is really innovative, having these families connected for the next 2 years. It also creates an opportunity for us at the International Institute to stay connected with these new arrivals, right? Because with that access to communication and to the internet, we can also stay connected with them and monitor their progress and monitor their growth and be able to communicate messages to and fro as they evolve in their growth here. So I just wanted to really thank all the donors behind the Welcome Fund for creating that opportunity for us. Technology has now become, phones and the internet have become no longer a luxury. It's a basic necessity, and it's how we communicate and stay connected. So I wanted to highlight that. Secondly, of all the three call to action points that were raised, we have this housing fund that we think it's a movement that can grow, and hopefully this extends. This is not limited only to this Afghan arrivals, but it would extend to other possibilities of arrivals that we're looking forward to. And if they're, we're happy to have conversations about how we envisage seeing that fund grow and how it can be used in the long run. But then secondly, there is the food distribution that we're going to do on the 23rd. I know this is largely thanks to the efforts of Little Angel Foundation that has, I think they're putting together 175 meal boxes that you're going to be distributing along with meat. And so I want to really thank the Reese and the team of Little Angel Foundation for your incredible work. You've stood with us every weekend in the last 3 months to provide meals to these families at the hotel. I cannot overemphasize how grateful we are for this tremendous work. Oh, and by the way, the boxes increased to 300. I didn't know that. I had 175 in my email. So that's great. Thank you so much, Reese, for that. It's a huge opportunity. And now we have this iPads and iPhones, iPads and phones coming in. And we know that we've started an initiative at the Institute. Our education department is trying to provide some kind of basic introduction to technology and computer usage. And there is an opportunity there for us to grow that. And you know, we're looking for organizations that may be interested in helping support our capacity in providing help to the use of technology. Once we have this iPads in the hands of people, you know, they may be needed to develop programming and maybe translations for them to be able to use them effectively. So those are some opportunities that we see for people to be involved. So I just wanted to highlight that. And I would now turn this over to Kelly.
Good day, everybody. Happy rainy day.
Hey, Kelly.
Oh, there we go. Here's our beautiful slide. This is my favorite part of this call because I get to thank all of you for your amazing work and service and donations. So we continue to have great success with Little Angels Foundation and House of Goods. Thank you. They've been partners from the beginning. They're doing amazing things with food, and we really appreciate your service and all of the volunteers that you all recruit for that. And of course, all of the contributions that you recruit to make that happen. Kindness Begins With Me is a fairly new organization that we're collaborating with. Thank you to them for providing English classes and women's programming. You really filled the need where people were stuck in hotels, and you all helped us share our city with our newest arrivals. So thank you. Kindness Begins With Me. Just yesterday, I had a wonderful conversation with the member of the Kiwanis Club, Mary. She's representing the Missouri and Arkansas region of the Kiwanis Club. They've been amazing. They've been here doing volunteer days, helping us sort through all of those fabulous donations. She continues to be an advocate, and she and her clubs have raised close to $2,000, some of those in quarter rolls and some of those in cash donations. So it took 2 people actually to take all of the quarter rolls up to the command center. They were that heavy. So that was fun, and that was surprising. Thank you, Kiwanis Club. Then we have Ursula Academy, who is also was gracious enough to do a quarter drive, and they gave us a bunch more quarter rolls that I haven't been able to count yet, but that's amazing. So thank you. I know Betsy Cohen and the Mosaic team spread the news about quarters, and they're coming in. So it's exciting and wonderful. We formed a partnership with Imran Pharmacy, and so we're excited about that. That pharmacy is able to deliver medications, so that's been very helpful for the new arrivals. Instead of having to go pick up medications, they can come to their doorstep. And then last Saturday, I had the pleasure of working with MICDS high school students, and they actually came to volunteer for our Women's Day program, but we had they had extra students and I had extra work. So we continue to manage donations in our gym, and I'm emphasizing them because they did a lot of heavy lifting, and it was a Saturday, and it was a beautiful day to work in the gym because the gym has no central air conditioning. So this month, we're going to capitalize on that, and we're going to have some more Saturday opportunities coming up soon. So Thank you to all of you. I know there could be a few of you that I've missed and that we haven't said by name, but thank you, thank you, thank you. You're making our job fun. You're making it inspirational, and it does inspire me that the gym is still full of donations. It also gives me a little bit of anxiety, but we're working through that. So thank you to all of you. There's much more work to be done, and we are excited to have you along our side.
Yay.
So take it away, myself, volunteer and community. This is where you guys get to say, what can I do next, right? We are thrilled to be celebrating National Volunteer Appreciation Week.
Yay.
Which starts next week. No, this Sunday? No, Monday. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little distracted by the dates. So April 19th, we are hosting a happy hour at the agency, and it's from 5 to 7. So any one of you who have helped in any capacity throughout this year, please come and join us. We will be celebrating each other. We will be congratulating each other to getting through this historical year, and to encourage us to continue to get through this historical year. So please come and join us April 19th, 5 to 7 in the Hall of Nations. We also will be working on April 23rd, which is a Saturday, with Little Angels Foundation, distributing food. So thank you to Little Angels. Thank you to the team of coworkers who are arranging this. We will be requesting volunteers for that day. Do we have a time? Yes, okay, the early morning-ish. So more details to come on those two events. But just so we all are aware, anytime and anywhere is the perfect time to thank anyone for everything they're doing. So typically, this is a National Appreciation Week. Other organizations around the country will be celebrating their volunteers, but I would love to celebrate you all every day. So this just puts a highlight on you all. Hopefully you felt that we have been highlighting you in the past, and if we haven't, please let us know so we can continue to do it so in the future. So let's celebrate all of the volunteers who give all of the time to all of the organizations that we work with. Community events. So right after the Appreciation Week, we go right into more fun events. And that means April 27th, Moji alluded to it, but we are going to celebrate a fast-a-thon. So that's going to be, that can be an individual act, that can be a community act, that can be whatever you want it to be. But let's join our neighbors and fast for one day, and then come to our institute outside parking lot for a 7 p.m. That would be break of the fast. And so come to the Institute to celebrate potluck style for that. The actual break of fast that day will be 7:49. So we put 7 o'clock so people could come and enjoy each other. And we'll do a little presentation about iftar, which is the break of the fast. And then of course, right at 7:49, we'll do the prayer and we will share food together. Yay. And the Ramadan. So for those of who do or do not know, Ramadan, the end date is not known. It's either going to be May 1st or May 2nd, and that depends on the lunar cycle. So more details on that, but there is going to be an Eid prayer at 9 a.m. at St. Louis Community College. It will either be May 1st or May 2nd. May 14th is the big event that Moji talked about, but this is going to be the Eid Festival, invited for all community members, invited for anybody and everybody who wants to partake in an Eid Festival. Even if it's your first one and you know nothing about Eid, this is the perfect time to make your way to St. Louis Community College. I think it's the perfect time to bring children out. I think it's the perfect time to celebrate with our neighbors their festival. So 2 to 8 to St. Louis Community College. And just so we really should put save the date on some of these, but save the date, World Refugee Day. We'll be celebrating at the International Institute on June 18th. I believe the official day is the 20th. And so take your pick. Celebrate with us on the 18th or celebrate with your communities on your own on the 20th, anytime during that week would be great. That is also a world holiday. I'm sorry, it's not a holiday, but it's a acknowledgement day. So many cities around the country, around the world will be celebrating the success and the many great qualities of why refugees are here, and also it's a time to educate and advocate for refugees, as we know that there are millions of people displaced around our world, and especially in light of our current situation, it's great to bring advocacy to people fleeing countries for reasons. So keeping it very broad, because that's the work that we do. We work with and for people who are new to St. Louis. So all of these events are open to all of our community members. They're just great examples of how we can be an inclusive society. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for your patience. And I'm going to let Carlos take it away for more opportunities for support.
Thank you, Kelly. Yay, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. Great to see everyone this afternoon. Just to highlight, we still have a lot of opportunities on our at the International Institute's websites to volunteer. Even though we're slow with in a lull with needing apartment setups, we still do that have that as an option, and really want to connect people that are looking to volunteer. Also with our education department for mock interviews and a job interview workshop, and our women's community literacy program, all are listed on our International Institute's website. We also are another collaboration with the Little Angels Foundation, collecting traditional garments, jewelry, and sporting goods through the end of Ramadan to give out to new arrivals. So for those that want to contribute, please reach out to Moji on connecting on a time to bring those over to the International Institute. We are also looking for still grocery gift cards to support families that are in need of food to prevent any food insecurity. So happy to still accept grocery gift cards, in particular from Schnucks, but also Aldi. And then we're also always looking for support for our TAO fund, which goes directly in supporting refugees that have Afghans and refugees that have resettled here in St. Louis. So really appreciate everyone's support. And we can go to the next slide. Excuse me. Opportunities to volunteer are listed on our website at iistl.org/volunteer. For those that do want to get connected with new arrivals families, we encourage everyone to reach out to the community support program lead, Wafa Osman, with their contact information. And then to donate, go to internationalinstitute.org/donate. And we are extremely grateful for the donations that continue to support the needs that we have, not only for today, but also looking into the future and what we're expecting here in the very near future, and expand our capacity. So just want to say thank you again for everyone who's contributed, and that will continue to contribute.
Well, thank you very much, Carlos and Kelly, for the update. At this point, we will be happy to take questions. For the amount of time that we have left, I see a question in the chat from Reese of Little Angels Foundation. What help do people get once they move into homes in terms of food and groceries? I think the starting point is, Carlos just said we continue to need those grocery cards to support people who are in their homes, and we're working with volunteers for such distribution. But we're also having an ongoing conversation with Operation Food Search that I hope we can go into implementation next month, which would really be creating opportunities for food to be picked up. And so we would have, when we meet 2 weeks from now, we would have more details. I think we're having an update meeting next Wednesday or Thursday around this idea of how we can continue to support these families as the transition to more permanent lifestyle here in St. Louis. That's
can I add to that as well, Ray? Just
yes, please.
As a matter of course, we're providing food support for folks until they are actually can get registered for benefits and have food stamps available to them. There's been significant delays in accessing those benefits, so we've provided ongoing support. What we hope to be able to offer through a partnership with Operation Food Search is, of course, low or no cost access to healthy foods to help meet the needs, nutrition needs of those families without creating an undue cost burden. And so that's a real opportunity that we want to take advantage of, but I want to sort of limit the perspective that we're continuously offering food support indefinitely through these gift cards. Really, it's meeting the most urgent needs.
Thank you very much, Blake, for that. Any other questions that I'm missing? I'm trying to scroll through so if anybody on the team can.
So I just want to address one of the questions by Kathy, and she's right. I've also been doing a lot of presentations at Rotary clubs throughout the region. And so there is some support that I maybe not have mentioned because I didn't have written down on my piece of paper, but it looks like there are people who are reaching out from Illinois, St. Clair County, who are trying to help establish jobs and things. So it's a really good time for me just to say that we are promoting our work and our messages throughout various clubs and organizations. And with springtime comes more opportunities for volunteering and also more speaker requests. So please be patient as we try to navigate all of the requests and get them done in a timely manner. But it's a great chance to come out and talk about our work. But you all as advocates could also talk about our work. And if you want help doing that, just reach out to us and we can give you the tools to do that as well. So thank you. I know I've talked to a few volunteers who have gone in and talked to their own communities, their own church groups, their own Rotary clubs, because they've been volunteering here for 4 months. So if you have any opportunities to do that and want some additional information or slides, we're available to do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm not sure that I missed any other questions that anyone would have with reference to.
Yeah, Betsy had a question. Do the rivals have any funds for job applicants to travel to job fairs or interviews or Uber cards or code available for transportation to such events? We don't have individual transportation available for, when an individual wants to go to something like that. That's not something that we generally have funds available for. However, through our Workforce Solutions team, when we work to bring folks to those interviews, of course, we can cover that transportation. Where individuals want to go, we don't really have a form of reimbursement, but folks who are enrolled in our programming have access to transportation support through staff members and volunteers through the International Institute, of course. But where an individual wants to do that sort of on their own and separate, we don't at this point have a fund available for coverage of those costs.
Thank you, Blake.
I have a question.
Any other questions? Yes, Reese, please.
I would like to request that already we would like to help the Ukrainians families as well, as and when they arrive, whether they are 2 or 200, doesn't matter. And we will do that. So already please let us know, keep us in the loop that already as and when needed, we'll just do it.
Wonderful, Reese. Thank you very much for that. This helps because we would be proactive in planning and preparations. So having this resource in mind, it's helpful. We will reach out to you as we
Thank you.
Put together our plans. There is a question from Kathy. Who will we contact for transportation to job fairs in Illinois? I'm going to turn this over to Blake.
If there are job fairs that you'd like to make sure that we're aware of, we'd be happy to try to arrange that where we have clients who might fit the bill. I'd recommend submitting that information to to me, and I can forward that onto our workforce team. And I'll put my email in the chat.
Yeah. And Blake, there's another question, and it relates to job fairs. And this is from Carol Buckman. Do we keep a list of fairs on our website? No, we don't.
No. When we hear about fairs happening locally, again, what we're really doing is aggregating clients who are job seekers who are enrolled in our programs and ensuring that we're getting transportation that way. We have broadcast information through social media and other methods around other regional job fairs in the past. But I think there's a line between promotion and then service, right? And so the services that we provide are for clients who are enrolled in our programs. When clients are enrolled in our programs, they can be sure to access that information through our Workforce Solutions team. When people just want to learn about these things, of course, the promotion methods are a way that we help people become more aware of kind of what's out there into the community. But if there is information about job fairs that you'd like to share, we've gotten a lot of that information coming to us recently. We'd be happy to pass that along. I can say that, the approach of our workforce team is much more boutique than it is volume, right? When we work with employers, we're often vetting those employers to find opportunities that meet our clients' needs, both based on their work experience and their language ability, as well as their ability to obtain transportation to make it to work. And so we're making concerted effort to match clients to jobs that meet their needs and the employer's needs. It's a different tactic, right, with a job fair. We have not worked with those employers. They are not aware of who our clients are. They might not be understanding even what the documents that they're offering to show their work authorization is, right? And so we're offering more holistic services when we partner with individual employers. And so while we're happy to, of course, promote job fairs, we really want to take a more considerate approach of building relationships with those employers, because it isn't just about that job placement. It's about an ongoing relationship with an employer to support folks beyond just job placement. We know that there's continues to be obstacles that pop up that could threaten one's ability to retain employment. And so we are just as concerned with job retention as we are as job attainment. And part of that is having a strong relationship with the employers who are making that hiring, ensuring that our clients' needs are met and the employer's needs are met simultaneously.
Thank you very much, Blake. We have a question from Peter. Blake, either you or Nadia can take this, but this is a question that we've been dealing with reference to tax assistance. We do provide tax assistance, but the second part of the question has to do with the first choice option, where Afghan arrivals could qualify for the economic impact credit. So it's the COVID stimulus. I know this is a question that we've had to toil with in the last few months.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Nadia, the Director of Economic Development. Yes, we do have surfers for tax filing assistance. And today is the last day that we have our services. A lot of people asking these questions. Actually, parolee or APA, Afghan who hold the status of parolee or APA, they are not qualified for any stimulus because they are on temporary resident, not permanent resident. So they are not qualified. Please let me know if you have any question.
Oh, hey Nadia, this is Pete. Sorry, and I am not a tech guy. I'm not. All right, there was a. This came up in one of the highest affiliates in New York had a thing out, and I'll send it to. There's a paper that shows it's a weird pathway, but under this first choice option, you can accumulate your 183 days in 2020. There's a thing. We're having some folks look into it, but I'll send it to you. But it looks interesting. But they have to file extensions. It's complicated, but it was new. It just came out like a couple days ago. But some folks put it out. I'll send it. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Just off the top of my head, something I was thinking about.
No worries, Peter. I think one thing that this has been, we've actually had conflicting guidance. Our national goal leg is flip-flopped 3 times on this. And where they've landed on this is that we should not be encouraging the use of that option, lest that money need to be recouped by the federal government. So that is functionally our guidance right now by our national VOLAC. But I would definitely love to see any, anything you have pointing to the contrary. But functionally, that is, as Nadia said, our tax prep is winding down very rapidly. But we will of course continue to communicate with our clients around updated guidance. But right now we're relying on our national VOLAC to direct us in that way. But again, if you have any other information that you think might be compelling, love to take a look at that. Maybe kick that up to our national partner for consideration as well.
No, I mean, we're all confused too. It just came out a couple days ago. We're going through the exact same thing. Just to clear the palate from that weird thing, just some good news. I think you might be seeing two requests to come to St. Louis from two different families coming soon. So we're really excited on the relocation front. There's two different families that me and a local guy named Hasib have been working with, and they're both in Qatar now. So life is good. And I don't know if it looks like the requests are coming down, but hopefully we'll see those numbers trickle back up coming through NCC. I don't know if you guys got any of those people or anything, but hopefully good things ahead. Anyway, two new families coming to St. Louis, exciting stuff. Thanks guys for everything.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your work on this. You've really been a very strong advocate in this effort. So thank you. Well, with that, we have about 2 minutes left. I'm not sure whether we have any more questions. I see none at this time. So I want to thank you all for taking time to be with us today. We will be back 2 weeks from now with an update. Hopefully by then, we'll have a better appreciation of the situation with Ukraine, and maybe internally share with you some of the plans that we're putting in place to just be prepared for those arrivals, and maybe more answers to the many questions that we're being asked with reference to that. But I wanted to just end by thanking you all. This effort, this collaboration, this partnership has been amazing. And I said to the group that we meet weekly, the groups that have actually been doing some work, I said to them that we may be starting a movement here that grows bigger than any one of us, and could be a trailblazer across the country, and who knows. But at the end of the day, it's for a common purpose, to make St. Louis more welcoming and more inclusive. And you all have played a very significant part as we continue to do this. So thank you very much for everything, and stay safe with the storm. Have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Thank you so much, RA, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, everyone. Stay blessed.
Thank you. Bye-bye.